So once we're done recording, actually, Jen, I have one thing for you to do. Big test. I need you to count to 3. Erica, you fall behind her. 4, 5, 6. You know the drill. So when you're ready, Jen, count to 3.
At the end?
No, when you're ready, count to 3, not at the end.
Got it.
Give me a 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
4, 5, 6.
7, 8, 9. Awesome. All right.
We're good to go.
We are live on YouTube. It is working, Erica. So surprise, everybody. We're here. We didn't tell anyone about this, but this is going to be super fun. We have on our friend of the pod, the wonderful, the amazing, the beautiful out in California, Jen Steele. Jen, what's going on?
All the miles.
All the miles.
Good answer. Good answer. Yeah, this has been a fun experience for you because we're having you back so we can talk about your Chicago Marathon experience. So that must have had hundreds of training miles. And I mean, you look like you're smiling. So you went through it with a smiling face.
Before we get to Chicago,
sure my most fun.
Before we talk Chicago, though, let's catch up. We talked to you back in March. How cool is that? It's been so long. We're still rolling with the podcast. You're still running the miles. What's new in your life since March? How was your summer in California?
It was so fun. It was the first time that I've had kids in real summer. They're 4 and 6. So it was our first like actual summer, not just life continuing as normal. So that was super fun. Lots of adjustments, but overall a lot of fun. Now we're back in the swing of life.
What is the weather in California right now? Your San Diego area, Southern Cali, right? Yeah. What's the weather like these days?
Well, we had a thunderstorm yesterday, and then today it was gorgeous. So we're kind of in that weird phase like everybody else.
It sounds very New England-y.
Yeah. One day it can be 80 degrees. The other day it can be 22. Today was like 64, and it felt 80. It was awesome. I was so jealous. Since we've talked, Jen, I've gotten a little better running structure, and I was like, I don't have a run today. I'm really upset about that. I had a 30-minute indoor bike ride, and it's beautiful out. I wanted to lie to my coach and go for a run, but I stuck to the plan.
Coach always knows.
Yeah.
Good for you.
But yeah, so it did snow here the other day, by the way, Erica. We had some flurries, but you don't get that.
I was driving in it. I was like, what is this? Oh, it's snow, of course.
Yeah, we definitely, our range is like lots of weird weather, but a temperature only changes about 25 degrees in San Diego.
Random weather question about you. Have you ever seen snow? I'm trying to remember where you're from. And for some reason, I want to say we talked and you're like, I only saw it once.
So I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area. We used to take day trips to Tahoe all the time. Right. It was about 2 hours away. And then my mom is from Omaha, Nebraska. And so lots of snow in my life, just not where I live.
All right. I remember that.
It can stay there. Yeah, it can stay where it is. Jen's in the nice area. I'm very jealous.
I remember that
yeah.
You were in Northern Cali. And during COVID, you guys moved to Southern California because you took many vacations there and you're like, life is great here. Let's move.
Yeah, pretty much.
Awesome.
Life is still great here.
Awesome.
Good.
And the kids are doing well. The family's doing well. And you're getting all the miles.
Yeah. Running way more than I have ever. So it's good.
Well, we're going to remember that for the question after we talk about the Chicago Marathon.
Yeah, you're going to need to run more miles too, because we will talk about it. But we are here. We are here to talk about Chicago, which was last month, and we're super excited to hear all about it. Give us all the details. Like, we don't need the boring parts. We just want the fun, exciting, and maybe the funny and ugly parts. When you left, like start from when you left. How long did you spend in Chicago? How was the expo? How was the race and the recovery?
I want to know touristy things too. Let me know what you saw, what you did, all the good stuff.
Did you have donuts? Did you have, isn't there a special Chicago donut thing everyone talks about? You need to get a donut in Chicago. Todd said that, right?
I missed out on it, so we'll have to get the intel.
I missed on the donut because they had them at the finish line, and at the end of a marathon, there's like so much that happened. So I grabbed like 3 of them thinking I would have a mini donut. Both of my children would have mini donuts. And I showed up to my husband and 2 daughters at their stroller at the end, and I had 1 mini donut left. The rest had fallen at some point because, at the end of a marathon, you just, I don't know, can't keep track of it. So my kids did come. So my husband actually lived in Chicago for a year after college. We've been back a number of times. I've run the Chicago Marathon before. So we felt pretty comfortable bringing them with us. Like we were talking about before we started recording. Logistically, it's pretty easy. The start and finish line is all in Grant Park. You can stay downtown pretty easy. So we flew in. We had a really early flight Friday morning. That all went super easy, direct flight. Got there and realized we were going to have this strange gap between when we landed, when we could check into the hotel, and I wanted to go to the expo Friday. So we schlepped all of our stuff from the airport to the expo.
Yes, you understood the assignment. I want these details.
And we started, realized Ubers were way more expensive than when I had priced it out before and was like, oh yeah, it's about this long to get places and cost about this much. And then it's marathon weekend and every time is 3 times as much. And so I was like, you know what, we're just going to do it all together, save $50 on Uber fares and call it a day. I left my husband and my daughters at one point. I was like, this is not going to work. They wanted to check all of our bags at one point. So we all had a checked suitcase, or the girls had one. And then my husband and I each had a checked bag. Everybody had backpacks and we had a stroller. And so we just threw everything in the stroller and are pushing it around. And as we try and go into the expo, they were like, no, we need to check all of your bags. We were like,
when you say check, you mean check the contents inside, or
yes.
you mean we're going to, okay. Yep.
No, they want to check, go through it, security, and open them all and ruffle through them. And I was
They're
like, you know what?
TSA.
Yeah, it was not good. I was like, why don't you guys just wait here and I'll just go wander the expo for 20 minutes, get my shirt, we'll call it a day.
There you go.
Then we left and it was ice rain, which we were not prepared for. We forgot, living in San Diego, that sometimes 60 degrees does not feel like 60 degrees here. And sometimes it can feel like 40, it'll drop to 45 and be really icy rain in the Midwest. And we failed on that assignment and had no winter coats. So we had sweatshirts, hoodies. My kids had hoodies. And
that's something I would do.
Yeah.
It happens, man. I mean, you anticipate on a dime, it just changes. So that freezing rain I hope you guys were able to warm up once you finally got to check into your hotel. But
yes.
So how was the expo? Did you get to take any pictures? Did you buy any swag? How did that go for you? Your 20 minutes, that would go by so fast.
It was really fast. I was very conscious of my space heading into the marathon, to the whole weekend. So the last time that I ran Chicago 6 years ago, I was very new to the running community, I would say. I didn't know a lot of other runners. I knew the one person that I was going with. I didn't know anybody else that was there for the weekend. I had no plans to meet with anybody. It was very chill this time. There was a lot of plans and there was a lot of things that I was consciously not doing that I kind of wanted to do. I ran for the Every Mother Counts charity. And so I had maybe RSVP'd to their events, but hadn't really committed myself. Just a lot of protecting of space. So going into the expo, I was trying not to get super amped up and excited so far before the race. So it's take it down a notch. And I'm not a huge Nike person. And so I kind of could steer clear of that. And I really hated the colors this year, so much hated the colors.
No.
So it was kind of easy to pass up on the swag. And then there was just like a lot of stuff that was easy to kind of pass.
I'm so on board. That's a big deal. I'm so picky about colors and the way things look. And if it's not something I like, it's an easy pass.
Yeah.
If it's something I
For
like,
me, it's
though,
hard. I'm
very
like, I have
expensive.
to have it. I don't care
Well,
what it looks like.
I went
ran this
online
race.
I went online and I bought my own from somewhere else, from like a small business,
Oh,
because I didn't like, for me, Chicago is red, white, and blue. Like, that's the city color. That's the light
And-
blue with the red stars and the white. Like, that's Chicago. That's the Chicago Marathon. And
yes.
this year it was mint and like a dark teal green.
Yeah, I don't like that. I can't
Huh.
find a picture, but this is what I
Um,
do when I go to every race. I'll just get a sticker. And if I don't like any other swag, I got the sticker. And
Yeah.
typically buy a finisher shirt, but the finisher shirt usually have 3 color options. That's what I do.
I mean, you get the finishers, like at Chicago, they give
No.
you the finisher shirt. So I have
No.
that.
Yeah, no, I mean, what do I mean? It's not a finisher shirt. It's just the Ironman
It's
shirt.
like
with
an
the
extra
logo.
shirt.
Oh, yeah.
It has the M dot on the back with everybody's
Oh,
name.
yeah.
It's not a finisher shirt. It's just the race shirt with your name on it.
Got
And
it.
they usually have like
Cool.
4 or 5 color options. I'm looking for
Yeah.
the swag.
So that's actually a great idea to just look elsewhere, because you know that everybody's making some stuff. Like, so since you mentioned it too, we'll talk about this later. Like, your first go at Chicago was the super hot year. So I remember
Yeah.
that year. But where was I going with this? I remember like the one thing I got from the expo was actually like a North Face sweatshirt, and it had like this really cool like Chicago like billboard on the back, and that was like the one piece of swag that I like loved. And it wasn't Nike, it wasn't official, it was just like something I found at the expo. I was like,
Yeah.
this is nice. I'm gonna wear this. This is gonna get used, and I love it. So yeah, it's a good way to save like $150 too if you're not buying the Nike stuff.
Right. I did make sure to get the poster, because Chicago has like a commemorative
Yes.
poster every year.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
so I did
I
snag
got
one
a bunch of them
those.
hanging up.
Yeah. And then this was a very small off to the side picture opportunity. And I like found somebody and just asked them to take my picture real quick. And then
It's a great photo.
I love it.
That's a great shot. Yeah, I'm going to go through some of your stuff here. So this is your kit for the race here.
Yep.
You're a
Oh,
Saucony
that is
girl. I
such a
like
good
Sauconys.
flat gen. That's a perfect flat gen.
All the things.
All the things. That's awesome.
Yeah. It was perfect race weather. Like, it literally couldn't have asked for better weather for the race. And so it was like,
Yes.
had a tank top and sleeves, and I went back and forth on the shorts, but ended up, because I didn't bring anything else, ended up in the shorts that I planned on.
Well, that makes your decision easy
Yeah.
too.
So you
That
arrived
that is great news.
So you arrived on Friday. The race was on Sunday, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So what do you do all day Saturday?
We took my kids to the American Girl doll store. That was like their
How funny.
surprise.
So we did the same freaking thing in Florida. It's like, we're in Florida. We're going to a mall. Why are we going to a mall? But it's a big deal. It is a big
So,
deal, I guess.
The one in Chicago is a little bit different.
Okay.
It is like a mall unto itself. It's the flagship store for the American Girl doll. And it
Ooh.
is 2 stories of stuff. And there's a doll hospital. There is a salon.
Yes.
There is a restaurant. And so we went and they shopped and picked their souvenir. And then we went to lunch or tea or whatever they call it at the store, which is actually a restaurant.
Erica, do you remember early days of the podcast? We're talking like pre-teen episodes. I went to Florida. This is when we flew there, and I went and I threw up on the roller coaster, right? But
Yes.
we went to the Harry Potter store, not Harry Potter store, the American Girl doll store. And I told you how you walk in and they have legit people there trained to cut the doll's hair. And they like give them pedicures and manicures, and they do their hair, and they put them in, and like they get a seat, and it's like, you can come back in 30 minutes. And they treat the doll like a real person.
That must have been so fun for your girls. They must have loved it. Were they like out of their minds excited?
Well, and we didn't tell them. So they're like newer to American Girl dolls. And so we didn't tell them what we were doing. We just said, like, on Saturday, we have a surprise for you. And then they're like walking from our hotel down Michigan Avenue. And we're like, this is the surprise. And they're like, no. Like, my older daughter, she was 6. She was so mad. And then we went to like a candy store and let them pick, giant lollipops. And that was a little bit better, but she was still like, really, let's go see the lake. Like, no, we live by the ocean. We don't care about this dumb lake, Mom. Like, they were so not into it. And then we turned to the corner and we were like, oh, go in here. And you can't really tell from the outside. They didn't know what they were looking at. So annoyed. And then, like, her eyes are like saucers and they just don't even know where to look. So I have a video of them like going into the store and like running around like they just can't even handle themselves. It was perfect.
That's funny. That's funny.
It's
Yeah,
such a cute idea. I love that, actually.
They got a doll for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember I had one, actually. When they first came out with the ones that you could customize to like look like yourself, I got one of those for Christmas. So how old was I? Must have been like 10 or 11 or something. That's even a little too old for dolls-ish, but I loved that thing. It was really cool. It had little glasses because I had glasses too. It was a blast having those. Yeah. But if I never got to do the experience like that.
If your doll breaks their arm or something, you send them to the American Girl Doll Hospital. And
wow,
it's a whole thing. It's super
fix it right up.
I think it's cool though. When we took Adeline, it wasn't a surprise. She knew leading up I was going to the store to get my doll or to get the accessories for the doll. I bought one accessory for her and it was a backpack that she can carry with her doll because I knew she'd want to bring it to Mims, which is my mom. Grandma is Mim. And anywhere else in the backpack had like a window so the doll can always be looking. But I'm like, that's a good purchase.
Wow.
Got to protect those expensive assets. Yeah.
I will say that my daughters, I have not bought them a doll. My daughter's dolls are hand-me-downs from my cousin who is 22. And they last forever. So we can laugh about the replacement of them, but like a 15, 16, 17-year-old doll, like, you wouldn't know it.
I'm proud of you, Jen. Great. That's a smart move. That's top-notch parenting there.
We'll see how long it lasts before I get guilted into buying them another one.
All right. So Saturday night, big day. You probably don't forget to set the alarm on the phone and probably 5 alarms. What did you eat for dinner? And what did you drink? Did you have beer?
No, I did not have anything to drink the day before the race. The day after I did, or the day of the race, but not the night before. We went to just an Italian place. It was very hard to find reservations the night before anywhere. So we just went to Italian that was like around the street at 4 o'clock because that was when I could get reservations. By the time we left it.
That's like your lunchtime at home.
Yeah, 2 o'clock. So we had lots of snacks. The whole thing was like so it was like lots of snacks in the hotel, extra bananas. We went to Trader Joe's maybe Friday night on the walk we walked to Shake Shack. We're trying to trade, right? Somewhere we want for dinner, somewhere our kids want. So Friday night, my kids got Shake Shack and there was a Trader Joe's right there. So I grabbed like the giant sea salt chocolate chip cookies, which are my favorite, and some bananas, some bubbly water, like just random stuff from Trader Joe's to have snacks in the hotel. So there was lots of snacks post 4 p.m. dinner. And then, went to bed early.
I feel like that's a smart thing to do, to eat dinner on the early side, because then you have time to digest. You can sleep better at night. And then the next morning, hopefully, you start your day off right with a you-know-what. So.
All right. So race morning, what time did you have to wake up?
I think I woke up at like 5, so not super crazy.
All right. I want to show you a picture. You posted this picture and you said, sitting in my corral, waiting for the race to start. Oh, I should have read the whole thing first. I was going to say, did you really make this post before the race? I was like, well, in the corral, because you wrote this long post, but okay, that is at the 2017
So that's
Chicago
a
Marathon.
carousel, and I just did like a back and forth. I snapped a quick picture, but wrote it afterwards. So that was in 2017, and then there's one that's like the morning of.
So what was your goal going in this year versus 2017? Because we knew like you were coming back for redemption.
Yeah. So I think my goal was sub 5 hours. And this time I wanted 410, sub 410 was the goal. I did not get, long story short, I did not get it.
Okay, we care about the experience.
You know.
Oh yeah.
I still wanted, I'm still chasing lots of things in the marathon. But yeah, that was the goal going in. And then my like other goals were that I wanted to execute a marathon, like everything in my control well, because I felt like I hadn't done that in a marathon. I had underfueled or undertrained or just decided, to go out too hot, all the things that, all the mistakes you make in a marathon. And so I wanted to execute what I could. And that was like a huge goal for me in this, and that one I crushed.
Great.
Yes. Nice.
What was your fueling strategy for this time around?
So my favorite fuel in this training cycle in general, pre-long run, became Pop-Tarts.
Yes.
Huge fan of ground cinnamon sugar Pop-Tarts.
All over that. That is a great choice. 70
grams of carbs in
How do you
like
carry
400
them?
calories. So just before, like that's my breakfast is Pop-Tarts. Yeah.
Smart.
And then
so smart.
it's so good. And then I had a banana right before, like maybe 20 minutes before the official start. And then I think my start was 8. I was in wave 2. And then I crossed the start at like 8:12 just because it's so huge.
So you had enough time to digest the banana and then be on your way. Good.
And then I used the Scratch, just newer, released like a high carb drink mix.
You two should be best friends.
Love the high carb too. I'm a big fan.
Pop-Tarts and Scratch and probably everything.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
So I used that heavy the first chunk. And then in my training, I did that with Humagel. And then I would switch the Humagel and then the Awesome Sauce from Spring Energy, I think is who makes that one. But I would switch between those two.
Very cool. Nice. Yeah, I've tried that Awesome Sauce. It tastes like apple pie. Literally, if you took a piece of apple pie, including the crust, and you blended it, and that's awesome sauce. It's very interesting.
Not the texture. The texture is not so gross because I can't do some of the other, like the goo. I hate the texture of goo, like the goo brand goo. Can't do it. But like Humagel is okay, and that one is okay. Morton grossed me out.
That's somewhere between like it's more of like an apple saucy kind of texture to it. So it's like easier to digest than just straight up like sugary, gross. I don't like goos either. No, not for me.
So it took you 12 minutes to get through the corral to the start line? Wow, that's crazy. So it's really that big. I've never been there to imagine it. To picture
48,000 people at Chicago this year.
Insane number.
Was that a new record this year? I feel like that's the biggest one they've had so far. It sounds like at least.
I think so. Yeah, it definitely was up there because it was nowhere near that big back in when I ran it in 2017. I think it was like 35, so way bigger this year than that.
What's the vibe of the city the weekend leading up? Like 50,000 people in the city, more than that. You brought your whole family. All right, let's just call it 100,000 people are going into the city just for this race. Like, what's the vibe of the city? And also, how far were you staying from the start? And potentially, like, how far away did some people have to stay? And would they get bussed in the morning? Or how did you manage logistics? I know you said it was easy, but how did you and others, you think, manage it?
So we were about 2 miles from the start, a mile from the finish. Grant Park is pretty big. So even though you start and finish in Grant Park, there was still a difference there. So I actually was trying to save my legs. So I took an Uber race morning. I booked it ahead of time to a friend's hotel that was about a half a mile from the start. So I wasn't going directly into the start. And then we walked over together. They did have public transit going early for the race day. So I think there was anybody who wasn't staying close was taking public transit in. But in general, it's just like the marathon takes over the city, or people have no idea. Like the guy who was my Uber driver at 5:45 on Sunday morning, the day of the race, he picks me up at 5:40 to take me. We passed the first like water stop. So we're driving down, the roads are open still. And I was like, oh, are you going to be done after this and take off? And he was like, what the is happening? And I was like, oh, there's a marathon. There's about 50,000 people that are going to run. All the roads are closing.
Hilarious.
Oh man, he did not get the memo. Oh no.
So
he's in for a treat.
Either you were completely oblivious and you just figured like it was a busy weekend in Chicago, or you were like part of it and it was, felt very much like you were taking over the city.
Well, the city, and I know Grant Park for that matter, does host some huge events. So maybe sometimes they're just used to that always being a big event. Like they had a freaking NASCAR race in Grant Park this year. So they're used to holding big events, whether it's race cars or runners. They're, I guess, used to it. They figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful spot too, because it's right along Lake Michigan. You ran along the lakes. I was going to call Oceanside, but no, Lakeside.
Nice try.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the shakeout was on the lake. And then the race isn't super, you get glimpses of it, I feel like, on the race course.
Yeah, I feel like when you go, what is it, like mile 8 before you go into like, is it Boys Town?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like your only real chunk of the lake you see until you're like right at the finish and boom, you're back in Grant Park. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the beginning, it was like a very pretty sunrise that morning. And so you could see it then too, but yeah,
nice.
not so much during the race.
You're making me want to go back so bad.
Well,
I just,
we did. And I don't know if I have announced it officially yet, but we did put our names in for the lottery. I have not told my wife.
Only tell her on December 7th when you get the acceptance notification.
If I get
and your credit card gets charged the $200.
I figure, okay, we'll put in for the lottery. If we get in, great. If not, we're going to Boulder for the Boulder. I can pull one off, maybe two. We'll see. If I get in, I'll try for both. Yeah.
Good stuff.
My wife works nights and weekends, so I just have to pull through and like get babysitters and stuff to help out. But so we haven't talked about the actual race yet. Redemption time. Did you get it? How'd it go?
It went so much better in so many ways. I think the best way to sum up the redemption side of it is I texted my friend who I ran with in 2017, and the text was something to the effect of, I don't remember running about 9 miles of the course. And I had to go back and look at a map because I didn't remember running through Chinatown. I didn't remember running by the Bulls Stadium. I didn't remember running by where the Blackhawks play. I didn't remember like
the same place, by the way.
They're like on.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Right
I don't know that.
It's like I swear there was different things that I ran by. There was like huge swaths of the race that I literally had no idea that they existed. Like if you had told me that Chicago didn't have a Chinatown, I would have been like, yeah, okay. Because I just didn't. I was like so far in I don't know where, the cave or something the first time that it just was not even there. I think I remembered I remembered all through Boys Town, and then at about probably mile 14. I couldn't remember any of that until about mile 23. And I was like, oh, there's the porta potty I used the last time I ran the race.
The things you remember.
Yes. And that was it. That was all I had. I was like, oh, that was a lot of race that I didn't remember at all.
Years
it's
later,
almost like you ran it for the first time.
Yeah.
Years later, you're running by some spot and you go, oh, I took a shit there. That's what we're here for. Oh, that's awesome. That friend you were texting about 5 years ago when you ran, that was like your best friend's husband, right?
Yeah.
Yes. See, I remember.
Yeah, that was exactly it. And he was like, oh, no, I remember that. I was like, oh, no, I don't. That was how much pain I was in at the time, is that I just blacked it out. So I feel like this time I did a really good job of being present and like enjoying it. Normally I'm like I run with music all the time if I'm by myself sort of person. And I think I only put my headphones in at like mile 16 because I was feeling too much crowd, too much people, too much of all the things. And I needed to like get out of it and just sit with myself for a minute. But I never had that experience before, which was new and kind of cool. Yeah.
What did you listen to?
There's it's called Big Booty Mixes by two friends on Spotify.
Yeah.
I love it.
They're so good.
I don't even know what's on it, and I don't even care. Big booty mix.
It's everything. So it'll start with like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory songs, and then it'll go to like 50 Cent, and then there's Be a Little Panic at the Disco, and then there's a random 3-second quote from some movie, and then it'll be something else. Like they're super upbeat. They're just fun.
Randomly,
I'm very intrigued.
Liam Neeson from Taken. He goes, I don't know who you are, and I don't know where you are, but I have a particular set of skills, and I plan on using them. And then it goes right into Jack Black. This is the greatest song in the world.
Yeah.
I totally screwed up that line, by the way, from that movie. I totally screwed it up. I don't care. I love it.
A lot of Taylor Swift.
When you listen to when you listen to music and you're running, and if there's a song you're like, man, do you go next song, or do you let the playlist play through?
It depends. So like in those mixes, you can't, because it's almost like a DJ set. So it's like a 1-hour song.
Oh yes. Okay. That's so short. Cool.
So then you just like know it'll be done in 30 seconds or whatever, a minute. But otherwise, if it's like an individual song, I will totally skip.
I like that. I gotta try that. Would you? I'm going way off track, but would you run? If you had to raise money, say Boston Marathon, you have to raise 10 grand for $1,000 towards your donation. Would you run a random marathon listening to Baby Shark on repeat? No,
definitely not.
All right. Now let me go on the other end of that spectrum. For $10,000 to cover your entire charity, so you don't have to do any fundraising, would you run 26.2 miles to Baby Shark on repeat?
Probably. Sounds really painful, though.
He had that for an Instagram poll, and I was like, $1,000 towards like your charity. I'm like, yeah, I could do it, because I could probably tune it out.
You and Jay right now are the only people who've said yes. Everyone else has said no freaking way.
The charity is the bigger picture here. You're already suffering for your 26.2 miles. What's a little extra like?
I also think that you haven't been forced to listen to it.
You are correct.
All the time. So I think that makes a difference in how painful you know that it is.
Although, already fans.
Yes.
So, Jamie Tart, Jamie Tart, So that's where I know it more from, because of Jamie Tart. So
this all started.
Grandma, Grandpa, it's a whole thing. It's painful.
This all started, the original song of choice was DuckTales. And Erica's like, nah, if you're going to pay this, you got to put them through pain. You got to play Baby Shark.
No, speaking of that, Lena found me a fantastic version of, it was like a remix of DuckTales plus
it's all been all over Instagram and TikTok lately. I've heard it too. Yeah.
That must be the one, but it's like, I think it's Tipsy. It's Tipsy / DuckTales. And I was like, that's a different story too. I would probably listen to that. It's
I think
banger.
Anything on repeat for a whole marathon, though, would be really painful. Like, even if it's your favorite song, I think it would be really
But if you're a really fast runner, you can be like, okay, I could get through this, and I could do 3 hours of that. But if you're like a 6-hour marathoner,
the faster the song is over.
Yeah, exactly. For those like 6-hour marathoners, it'd be like, oh man, that is rough. 6 hours of Baby Shark.
what is the Taylor Swift has that song All Too Well that's 10 minutes. And so I don't know if you've seen the memes on like the Taylor Swift math that it's like, oh, it's only 6 All Too Wells or whatever. I just have to run 1 more mile. That's like 1 All Too Well. It's fine.
I like that.
You're a Swiftie, aren't you?
I do. Yes, I am.
We are. Yeah, we
Still
are
didn't
too.
listen,
We're
so.
Swifties. We don't want Taylor Swift Nation to come out on the runs. We're Swifties. All right, we are so off the tracks. Let's get back to the marathon. Erica, save me.
So how did it go? Like, I know you said you didn't quite hit what your A goal was, but you said everything else was falling into place. So tell us about how the end of the race was, how you were feeling. And I mean, if you're comfortable sharing, how did you do?
And the finish line atmosphere.
Finish line atmosphere, yes.
So I ended up, in like early September, I caught this cough and I never felt sick, but I had this really annoying cough that I could not get to go away. And I was like, this is ridiculous, but like kind of a gross cough, like deep, like it was like hurting down here, like in my, not quite my chest, but like my upper lower neck. I don't know how to describe it. And I went to the doctor after it had been like 2 weeks and I was like, this is not getting better. Now it's mid-September. So I'm about a month away from running a marathon. One, I want to make sure that I don't have pneumonia because I'm running I'm training to run a marathon. Two, like I need to run a marathon. So like, let's give me some medicine. Like I need to get better. And they were basically like, nothing's wrong. Everything looks clear. You're good. Just give it time. And I was like,
but
okay.
I did.
Yeah. So I was like, whatever, I'll give it a little bit, maybe it'll get better. And then they gave me some cough medicine and an inhaler. And then it's now 2 weeks, 11 days before the race, I go back in because I still have this cough that like, is it really annoying? I took an entire week off. So my first week of a 2-week taper, I did nothing. Like I didn't run. I didn't strength train. I was like, I'm going to walk. Like, I don't know what else to do at this point. How am I still having this cough? And I went in and she was like, oh, everything's clear. And I was like, no, like, I'm sorry. It's now been a month, like something we have to fix. And it just so happened that I teach part-time and I was having to leave the classroom because I couldn't stop coughing, like really bad. And so I thankfully had one of those like coughing attacks in front of her where I like couldn't stop to continue our conversation. And she was like,
had that recently.
She was like, oh, that sounds really bad.
Hello.
No shit, Doc. What have I been telling you this whole time?
I'm not full of shit. Like I don't feel sick. Like I don't have a fever. I don't have body aches, but something is obviously wrong.
Yeah.
So she prescribed me antibiotics and diagnosed me with bacterial bronchitis. And which is great, like whatever, except starting antibiotics 11 days before a marathon is really not ideal. And so my stomach was just not like, it was fine. It was totally fine. And then, like, I think I got to like mile 9 and I was like cruising, race pace, everything was good. And it was like time to take the second gel. Yeah. Cause I was doing it every 45 minutes with the scratch in my water. And I had practiced, like, I knew it wasn't the gels. I had practiced with them so much. And I was like, this makes me want to, like, I feel like I want to vomit right now. Like, I don't know how I'm going to take gels for the next, 16 miles, 17 miles. And then I kind of choked it down. I was like, nah, this is not, like, I can't keep running this pace and taking in fuel. Like, I was like, okay, I can do a bathroom stop. Like, I was expecting to see my family at like mile 11. I was like, all right, after I see them in a couple miles, like, I'll pull off and go to the bathroom. Missed them, like, didn't see them. They saw me, but I didn't see them. They were on the wrong side of the street. And then once I passed the halfway mark, I was like, okay, I'm definitely not seeing them. Sent my husband a quick text that said, like, I missed you guys. I must have missed you guys. Like, I'll see you at the finish. And then took a porta potty stop, got back on, ran a little bit further, tried to switch to gummy bears at this point because I thought that maybe was going to help, doing something, other than a gel. It was fun, but not great. And then at like mile 16, I had to pull off again for the bathroom, maybe threw up a little bit. really was unhappy stomach. And I was like, I'm just going to have fun with the rest of this race. Like it is what it is. Like there's not, I can't, like, I just can't hold what I wanted to for race pace. And then did not take in any fuel the rest of the race because I was like, I'm not going to keep going to the bathroom. Like, this is dumb. My stomach is mad. Like, just run it.
Jen. I'm so sad.
I just had fun the rest of it. And it was so fun. It was like, okay, like talk to people and see the dogs and hang out and soak in the atmosphere and cheer for other people. And it was the first race where I didn't walk a single step. Like I walked, when I was off the course, but other than that, like 26.2 miles of running the whole way, which was really felt really great, especially like at the end, those last couple miles. I was like, I'm still running. And so many people are walking and falling apart at that point. And I was like feeling really good. So the perks of not being able to, hold race pace as long as I wanted was that I could just run forever.
So perfect. You led me into this perfectly. Tell me about the biggest mistake you see runners who are chasing their goals make. And I think you might have had a learning experience here and you posted about it.
Yeah. Is it not having fun? Because we are not getting paid to do this thing. So yeah, it's super frustrating when we train really hard and it doesn't go our way. Like, so frustrated. I was so frustrated. But I also made the conscious decision even before, like my C goal, I think I posted about too. Fun. It's like, if we're not having fun, why are you putting yourself through all of the other stuff? I always tell the athletes that I coach is that the race is graduation, not finals week. So it should be a celebration for all the hard work you did. Like you did all of the things and you showed up healthy to toe the line of a race. Like that's a big deal. And you should celebrate that instead of showing up and thinking like it's a test. And if it doesn't go well, it means something about me or that I failed or that I've done something wrong. Like it's one day out of like months and months of training. And like, sometimes it's just not your day and it is what it is.
You know what I call it? I call it a victory lap.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sometimes
I always said, if I ever get to do these big ones with 50,000 people,
a long lap.
I'm just going to enjoy that lap. If I'm doing something like local, I'll be like, okay, maybe I'm going for the time here when there's like 400 runners. But big race like that, enjoy it, have fun, enjoy the victory lap. You did all the work, go out there and enjoy it.
Yeah. And the atmosphere is so fun. I haven't done another major, so I can't compare it to that. But I did, my last marathon was Rock and Roll San Diego, which is a pretty well-known race. And I literally can't even compare what the two felt like. Like it just is the most fun. It's like a party for 26 miles.
So we know you have some things coming up, but what do you think will be your next worlds? Do you have do you have a goal of doing other worlds? No, just Chicago. You don't want to come here. I just love
Chicago.
All right, then come here to Boston, just hang out with us on the sidelines and cheer. How about that?
I mean, if one day I could qualify for Boston, then that would be great. I would do Boston. But I don't really have a desire to do like the world major cycle. Yeah.
That's a lot of time, a big commitment, and a lot of money. So I don't blame you for not wanting to go
you're right.
all the way.
It's a lot of money for some victory laps. That's a ton.
It is. It really is.
And the international travel, like it just seems like a lot.
Especially with like you have kids, like the little kids. So it's hard to either take them or be away from them for so long. And
knowing from experience, it's hard to convince them to be like, hey, let's go on a trip so I can do an Ironman or so I can do a marathon. That is hard. Yes. So I am with you. But you are training for something pretty big.
I am. Yeah. I have a 50K in January, at the very beginning of January.
I'm so excited for you.
First ultra, first trail race, first ultra. Just going big.
Welcome to the dark side. We have snacks.
This is
which
like
one
Erica's
are you
new
doing?
favorite thing in the world.
You know what? I'm new to it
50K.
I'm new to it myself, but I know how fun it actually is. The pressure is so much lower than a regular race. And you have the awesome snacks. I mean, what more could you want? So Avalon 50K did you say if it was road or if it was trail?
It's trail. It's like emergency access trails. So like wider,
okay.
not technical trails.
Like what we
Good.
ran on
I
Run
like
the Red.
those.
Yeah.
I like those.
Avalon Benefit 50 miler and 50K. Oh, it looks beautiful.
Yeah, so it's on an island
does.
that's like a hour and a half ferry ride off the coast of Southern California. It's on Catalina
Cool.
Island.
How cool
and it
is
starts in
that?
like the little town there. And so we literally run around it, and that's the race.
Is it one lap or is it loops?
No, it's one lap. The 50K is
big
one lap around.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a little bit of weaving to get it there, but yeah, it's one lap, and it starts and ends
Okay,
in the
yep,
little town
yep.
there. Yeah.
Erica's a fan of, I mean, the Yeti she did was a down, back, something like that. But she likes the pain to be like really, you know, she loves the pain, the mental pain of little lap, little lap, little lap, little lap, little lap, little lap.
If I have the
2.4
choice, I just haven't done one.
2.45 miles. She
I just
likes to
haven't
be
done
just
one.
like,
I absolutely would choose a one lapper. That sounds amazing.
oh, this has a huge climb in the beginning, Jen. Are you ready for that huge climb?
Working on it. Yeah. It was funny. So I did my
Power hike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was gonna say,
100%.
my tip is just hike up the climb. Don't run. And then run. You're
Conserve
golden the rest of
energy.
the way.
It's like 4,500 feet of climbing total in the race.
In like the
Wow.
first couple miles.
Well, it's like
The-
the first
and-
probably 8 miles. It's like 2 peaks is kind of the race.
Yeah,
So
you have
it's like 8 miles up
66
and then down.
Yeah, you have 66,000 feet, 6,633 feet of climbing during the entire. Oh, that's the 50 miler.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I think we're
Well,
they're
let's just go half of
45.
that. Yeah, about
45-ish is the 50K. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this looks beautiful. This really does. This looks awesome.
Do you have a goal in mind for your 50K, or you're just going to go out and have a blast?
Somewhere between 6 and 8 hours is kind of what we're thinking. Who knows? I know that's a really big gap. My first marathon was 6 hours and 48 minutes. So like I have zero expectations at this point. I haven't done anything close to that in elevation on the trails to see. We're heading out. There's a group of us doing it, and we're heading out the 3rd to do a big trail circuit in San Diego called 5 Peaks. So I'll have a better idea time-wise after that. But like if I could get like the 6:48 would be like magic, just because it would be the same as like my first marathon was. But I have no idea how realistic that is. And then weather will come into play, right? It's the first weekend in January. So if it's raining, which it very may well be, like all bets are off, and we're just going to go slosh in the mud for an entire day.
Yes.
This is going to be hard to see because it has like the watermark in it. But Erica, look at this beautiful picture of, this is like the area she'll be running. Can you see that on your tiny phone, Erica? Erica likes the podcast on her phone, little screen. This looks beautiful.
Fine.
Look at
that
that
looks
picture.
Gorgeous. Oh my gosh.
You picked the right ultra. Do you need a Sherpa? Do you need Erica to go out there and
I'll come pace. I'll come do it with you.
We'll see if I ever decide to do the 50. I don't think so, but
she has no kids.
I can be convinced.
Yeah.
Plus, we have family out in California too. They're in the Palm Desert area, so I'll go run with you. I'll go up a little bit, spend some time, and then I go home.
Yeah, my advice: just have fun and eat all the food.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's been
and keep moving.
It's been a fun transition. I was a little bit nervous because I historically always take like a month, at least off of running after a marathon. I've only done 5. This is my 5th. But every other time I've taken at least a month off of running. And so I was a little bit nervous, like how not having as much time, right? Like you got to come back and keep that base was going to go, but it feels much more.
This is like just an extra building block step of your ultra training. The marathon was just a training run.
Yeah. So
great job.
That is a great way to think of it. There you go. You put in the work for the marathon, and now you just have to do a little extra like build. That's it.
What did Scott say? Just more frosting on top of the cake. Just adding another layer of frosting. Yeah. All right, Jen, this has been fun. Much longer than I said, but there is a story I want to hear. So for all the listeners who have hung around to the end of this OTR Live, I want to hear about the code brown you have for us.
So I met a friend. I met an athlete actually that I was coaching in person for a run at like 6:30 on a Friday this summer. And we did our like half an hour run together. She was a beginning runner. And so it was short, sweet. She leaves. We're at a public park, permanent bathroom set up. I go pee real quick and then head back out for my run. Bathroom, and the lock is like one of those circle locks with you just turn it to the left or
like
right.
A deadbolt lock?
Yeah, like a deadbolt. And I go to unlock it and it just spins in a circle. Just spins. It's a one stall bathroom. There's nothing else. It's just, you go and deadbolt the door and it's spinning in circles. I knew the maintenance crew had been out earlier, like I'd seen them cutting grass. So then I start banging on the door as hard as I can. There's no real window. So I'm just in this room.
Oh, no.
It was terrifying. So I call my husband after a couple minutes, hoping he was going to have some helpful advice. And all he said is, do you want me and the girls to come? And what are you guys going to do at 7:00 on a Friday morning? Like, no, there's nothing you can do. So then I start dialing 911 and literally just kicking and hitting the door and playing with the lock as I'm hoping something is going to I don't know, something is going to happen, like trying not to have a panic attack as I'm doing it. And of course, as the 911 operator answers the phone, the door just pops open and it's like,
just by itself, just like boom, door open.
Like something when I was like the kicking and the hitting, something must have knocked the lock loose. But it was terrifying, probably 5 to 7 minutes where I was.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I would have panicked. I would have 100% panicked. Ooh.
911, what's your emergency? I'm locked in the door opened. I'm good.
I thought this was going to be another like Dave McGillivray porta potty. Like he got trapped in one of those, but this is like worse because there's really nothing you can do. You're like,
yeah, wow. Like there's nothing to break. I was just stuck. That's why I was like, I don't know what else I'm going to do. Like I have to call 911. Who else do I call? The city's not going to be open yet. Like I can't sit here for hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's so bad.
Oh my God, imagine it. Was it a clean bathroom or was it nasty and smelly? Like what were the conditions of the bathroom?
I mean, it's pretty it's decent. It's like, I mean, it's a well-kept.
So if you're stuck in there for 30 minutes, you're not like this the whole time, trying to like, oh my God, and you got the flies flying around.
Had like actual running water, a real flush, soap and water was, But
so if you were stuck in there for like 14 days with running water, you would have been fine.
I mean, I guess I would have had a massive panic attack by that point. It would not have been good.
Oh no.
That's a great story. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you got out in one piece.
It's happened multiple times now on the podcast.
I hope it's not a trend.
When we think of you guys now.
Yep. Jen, you're so cool. Jen, I want to give you a second to pump your tires here. You are still run coaching and you are kind of doing it full time, part-time teaching, but how's run coaching going?
It's going really good. I have a couple of spots on my roster right now, but lots of people are starting to think about this 2024 races, which is super fun. A couple of people like starting to train for Boston and that kind of thing in December. So I am launching a group coaching program, which I've never done before, kind of on my own for half and full marathon. So it's just like small group coaching program, 20 athletes tops in a group. You get access to me and all the goodness, but obviously way more affordable than a one-on-one run coach. So lots of fun stuff happening.
That's awesome. I'm trying to remember when we talked to you last, didn't you have like a special website or something you had with somebody else, or was it just your website, Misadventures of a Marathoner?
It was probably just my website, misadventuresofaMarathoner.com.
I'll throw that in the show notes for you guys if you want to check out and find Jen. But yeah, this is so cool. So did you get to meet one of your athletes in Chicago too? Did I see that?
Yeah, I got to meet a bunch in person, which was super fun. Yeah. I hosted like a small shakeout. I had 5 athletes that I currently coach one-on-one that ran Chicago. And so I got to meet like 2 of them at a shakeout run. And then I met up with 2 other ones at the start line. And one was in the same corral as me in the wave. So we like hung out, ran the first mile of the race together. It was so fun because most of my coaching is virtual. So
Yeah,
getting to like
that's
meet
cool.
people in person that I've talked to virtually for years and years is so fun.
That's so
That is
cool.
amazing.
Yeah. Somebody else
I'm
ran
so
into me at
happy.
the airport, like one of my other athletes who we just couldn't connect with like life happening when we were there.
Mhm.
We're like going through the airport, I have the strollers and the kids and the whole 9 yards. And she ran up, she's like, Jen, I thought that was you. I was like, oh my gosh.
And when you meet
Well, the
with your
airport's
athletes,
better than nothing, right?
Yeah, oh, for sure. It was so fun. I take it.
when you meet with your athletes virtually, it's like a video chat like what we're doing here too?
It kind of depends on what works for them. So if
Yeah.
video chat works, like obviously it's nice because then you get to see somebody's face.
Mhm.
But other times, people usually work with a run coach because they're super busy and don't have a ton of time to like spend researching their plans and doing all the logistics. So sometimes it's chatting on the phone in the car on the way to drop a kid off at gymnastics or, whatever the case may be. So
Right. Well, I think it says a lot to hear that you've met up with some of your athletes for the first time after talking to them and getting to know them for years. So that means they've been with you for years and just whatever's going on is working for you and them. And that's a great sign. So yeah, we'll put the link in our notes. And for anyone listening who wants to hit Jen up for some run coaching, or if you got some big plans in 2024 and you're like, oh, this Jen girl sounds awesome because she is,
Mhm.
check her out. Oh, that's
thank
so
you.
cool.
Yeah.
Erica, you have anything else before we go off the airways of YouTube Live?
All I want
Our
to
one
say
viewer.
all I want to say is I wish you the best of luck in that 50K. And I hope we can get you back again to hear about it because it sounds amazing. So take lots of pictures, put them on Instagram so he can show me with his sharing screen and I can live vicariously through you. So
Jen,
best
I'm
of luck.
pumped for
It
ya.
sounds amazing. And you're just enjoy yourself no matter what. It's another one of those like make it low stress and just have a blast because that's going to be a race of a lifetime. So just have so much fun.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and if it goes really well, you should sign up for the Anchor Down Ultra in Rhode Island and run it with Erica.
That
How
one
long
is
is that
lots of
one?
loops.
Erica has a bunch of ultras, so that's the one
They're
that's
mostly loops.
yeah, it's a loop. It's a 2.45 mile loop.
2.45 miles. She's like, fuck no.
That
Yeah.
sounds like
Like-
so mentally hard.
It
And
is.
it's in the
And it
middle of
starts at
August during the
night.
hottest weekend of the year. Yeah, starts at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Hard pass.
We lost her. We lost her.
Come
Well,
here
I'll
to New
find a
Hampshire
good
for the
one and
hamster wheel.
we can reconvene.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
go to
she
bed
wouldn't
at like
want hamster
7
wheel.
a.m. or 7 p.m. So like, although I would have
We'll
the time
find one
change
and
working in my favor.
we'll find one and start you off like on the slow side. So we'll do like a 12-hour so you can still be in bed by by a reasonable hour.
Yes.
There you go. It probably couldn't be here because any temperature here would be like winter for her.
Well, it's still winter for me too. I don't like the cold.
You would,
But yeah,
but
we'll
I'm thinking
we'll
you
figure
go to
something out.
California and run a 12-hour.
I already
ultra with her.
offered.
It'd be
I'm
so
already
cool.
on board. So
You have run California already for a marathon though, right? You did.
yes,
Big
I
Sur.
have, but yeah, but that's okay. Like I said, we have family over there, and it's just another excellent excuse to go visit. So more races, the better.
Well, Jen, you're awesome. I know I advertise these as a quick 30 to 40-minute conversation, and we are 58 minutes and 48 seconds into it. But you are awesome. Thanks for reaching out to me. Don't forget, don't hang up when we end this. But thanks for reaching out to me, and let's do this again. I want to hear about your ultra because there's going to be like a dozen good stories in there. One race.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, this is a lot of fun, Jen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone, I hope you enjoyed that surprise OTR Live on our YouTube page and dropping soon on our RSS feed. Guys, Jen Steele Misadventures of a Marathoner. I had to look and read it. I spelled it out with
Nailed it.
faces on the On the Runs podcast.